I graduated college this year. I will cue that little montage of how that day went right now.
I want to congratulate all of our graduating seniors and their families, but this isn't the way I really wanted to congratulate you.
We just had lunch with Cam's parents, and they don't know that we're gonna show up to their house wearing our cap and gowns. They don't know that he got his. So this is gonna be a fun surprise. Yay! Okay.
Tell me you got that.
Happy now!
Congratulations. Look at you. Here, let me get mine.
Wait, we got a home.
They were about to go on Craigslist and find some.
First class of 2020, Audrina Rosales Streeter. Yay!
You faced challenges beyond what any previous graduating class could imagine, and you persevered, and you made it. And that's an incredible achievement. Congratulations and best wishes as you go forth as college graduates and as UNT alum. Go Mean Green!
I just thought since I just graduated, I would share some of my college stories. So the first story, this is a boy story. This also happened my freshman year. It was one night, right? And my group of friends and I were at Victory Hall playing card games like usual. And then two guys walk in my vision, and I remember thinking one of them was really cute, right? So then like we lock eyes and he's just like walking by, and it was just kind of like a movie moment, like a slow-mo when the two characters first meet, and I'm like, we're just staring at each other, we're not breaking eye contact. Then he comes back with his friend and he comes up to me and he's like, hey, my name's I just said his name, but we're gonna bleep it out. And I remember thinking that was like a cool, unique name. I'd never heard it before. And then we shook hands, and then he's like, can I have your snap? And I was like, sure, that's cool. I didn't say it like that, but I just said, yeah. Then we exchanged snaps, and then like I watched him walk off. And then he didn't message me after like, I don't know, like 20 minutes, so I decided to be the first one to message him. So I was just like, hey. And then we started talking, and then the next day we found out that we had the same psychology class together. Almost 500 students in the class, so it wasn't a big lecture type of hall. When we found out that we had the same class together, we started sitting next to each other, just like talking or whatever, hanging out. And then since I would always go to Victory Hall, I would see him sometimes, but he would like stop and say hi, but then he would leave. And he only hung out with my friends and I like a couple times. But he wouldn't really like message me back a lot on Snapchat. A week later or 2 weeks later, the next time that we had that class, he didn't show up. And so then I Snapchatted him and I was like, hey, like this is what you missed or whatever. And then he was like, okay, thank you. And I think I tried to have a conversation with him, but he didn't reply back. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then the next time we had that class, he didn't show up again. I messaged him like, hey, are you still in the class? He didn't respond at all. And so then I thought he just wasn't in the class anymore, and I wasn't seeing him at Victory Hall anymore. So I was like, okay. But then, cut to like a week or two later, I see him walk in with another girl. He walks a few rows back, and I'm looking at him this whole time, and he doesn't like look in my direction at all, and he just walks a few rows back and sits with her. And yeah, in that moment I was like, oh, got it. I've been ghosted. It hurt a little, but it is what it is. That's that story. This was also my freshman year. I think a lot of the most exciting things happened my freshman year. Not that the rest of the years were boring, but definitely a lot more things happened that year than all the other years. But anyway, there's this event called Yell Like Hell, and it's during homecoming week, and it's when different organizations and sororities and halls. There's like a theme each year. And you do like a mashup of songs and you make up a dance to it. Me and Rianne were part of the dance group for our hall, which was called Maple Hall. If you want to see the video, here it is.
There's Rihanna and Arjuna right there on the left. Let's go.
So that was cool. Oh, I do have kind of a crazy story actually. Okay, this was my sophomore year. I was in the dorm and Rianne was already in class. Rianne is she was my roommate, by the way, and she's my friend. I was like still sleeping and it was in the morning. And then all of a sudden I hear keys and like someone's trying to get into my room. I just didn't know what to do, but I like froze in my bed. I couldn't move. I didn't want to make a sound, which shows my fight or flight skills. I just was like laying there until the coast was clear and I didn't hear anything. And then I looked out the window and nobody was there and I freaked out. I didn't know what to do, so I called Cam and he didn't answer. This was before we were dating, we were just friends. And then I called my friend Marco and he was like, okay, yeah, like I'm on my way, I'll be there. I texted my mom, or I called my mom and I was like, this is what happened, like I'm so scared, I don't know what to do. And she's like, do you want me to call the campus police? And so then she calls them and Marco shows up, and then a few minutes later the UNT police shows up and I'm like, I explained like I was sleeping and then I heard someone like opening the door as if they were trying to come in, but I didn't see who it was, and they were like, okay, well, we'll take a look around, we'll go to the front desk, we'll see what's going on. And they come back and they're like, did you leave your keys in the door? So for this dorm, you had an actual key that opened the door handle, but for all the other dorms, you needed your ID to swipe in, which I prefer that better. But anyway, the night before, I remember I came in from doing something, but I left the keys in the lock. So they were like, yeah, the person was trying to get your attention to give you your keys back, but they returned them at the front desk. And I was like, oh, thanks. I was really embarrassed. I didn't remember that I left my keys in the lock. So thank God that person didn't steal my keys, and all throughout the night, nobody stole them. So I just went to the front desk. I told my mom what happened and everything, and I got my keys back. Those were some of my fun, embarrassing, crazy college stories. I hope you enjoyed, and congratulations to the class of 2020, whether you graduated from the 5th grade, now you're going to middle school, or you just graduated college. Here's to the future. I don't know why I just did a thumbs up. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you, well, you'll see me in my next video.